you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Let's see if I can turn me on. Okay, are you ready?
Ready.
What are we here today to do? Drink? Drink. We're here today to earn your star on the multifamily Walk of Fame. Everybody, has anybody ever been down to Hollywood and seen the stars? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it used to be something really, really cool to do. Let's see if I did this right. I am from California originally. I grew up in San Diego. My family, I did not get blessed with the ability to be a star like my family was. My father was a world-renowned long-distance shooter. He could shoot further than a football field and get a perfect score multiple times. My dad was a champion. My mom was a professional dancer. She still teaches line dancing, and she's going to be 90 years old next week. My sister was a professional cheerleader and dancer. She was a magician's assistant. So she also won the Gong Show. Anybody know that old show? I don't think you guys are old enough. But my family was all theatrical. I wasn't. I was a late bloomer. Glasses, braces. I was smart, but I was not a cheerleader. I wasn't an athlete. I was awkward, always bumping into things. And P.S., my husband, I'm now married, he was on Sons of Anarchy. So I've been around Hollywood and those things for a great amount of my life. And we're going to talk about how you can be a star in multifamily. So are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, you guys are gonna have to be a little bit bubblier than this. So today, you're gonna earn your star. We're gonna start by talking about a real life Cinderella, me. We're gonna talk about what you need to do, because every day you're on stage, right? Those residents, corporate office, your suppliers, everybody has eyes on you. They want to see what your team members, they're watching you because they're going to follow your act. And then we're going to talk about what makes an A-list performer, what you can do. So you're going to walk away today knowing some things that you could put in place immediately. So let's go. Wow, I did some pretty tricky things, who knew? I know, I do all my own work. This is what it's like to be self-employed. So, Cinderella. I love to think of all of us as, sorry guys, Cinderella, in the sense that we can be whatever we want to be if we have the heart, because I believe that it starts with your heart and the mindset. And what that means is that you have to have confidence and the willingness to learn and to change. So I wanted to be in business. I decided that, when I went to college, but I got to tell you, ASU is a really fun school. So, and I have fun, as you should. But I had to learn, because remember I said I was that awkward teenager all the way through college. My mom, at a young age for me, I went to Sears. I don't know if you guys remember Sears, the store, but they used to have these classes that taught you, how to stand, sit. So I learned, how to sit properly. I learned how to stand tall and walk with a book on my head. I learned how to look at people and do these things because I wasn't very good at it at all. So you can transform and you can look the part. So part of being an actor is that when you go out in public, right, you want to have a certain image. So your image really, in my mind, starts with your personality, with your eye contact, your body language, and if you're dressing the part. So when you go to work, if you go to work and you're not feeling uplifted and looking your part, people don't respond to you the same way. I'm not saying that you have to be dressed to the hilt or anything like that. I'm just saying that for me, I know it matters. Like when I feel, basically, you know, take the makeup away, the high heels and all of that, I don't feel as confident as I do, you know, when I'm dressed for work. You have to believe in yourself. How many of you are in the position that you want to be, or how many of you, we're going to go both ways, want to, so to say, climb the corporate ladder, earn more money, manage more people, you know, be able to make a greater impact on people? Anybody want to do that? I mean, I think that most of us do. Sometimes we find that we're in the role that we want to be and we just want to ride it out, and that's okay. Then you're a background actor, in a sense, you know? You're always gonna be around, but you're not gonna be the movie star, so to say. One of the things that I found, and this is what actors and people in auditions do, if you don't ask for what you want, you're not gonna get it, right? Haven't you been taught in leasing that if you ask for the deposit, you get it? Who wants this? This is something from, Drive Patrol. Okay, I don't know if I can throw that good. I told you that after. Oh! Will somebody throw it? Can I get an arm? Or just come get it if you want. Now do you believe me when I said that I was not talented that way? What I found is when people told me that I can't do that, how many of you think that I would have the ability to ride a Harley Davidson across country or a chopper? Anybody think I could do that? Okay, a couple of you. I did. Do you know the reason I did it? Exactly what it says there. I defy those who are not supportive, and I'm positive. I decided that I wanted a Harley, and I didn't want to get on the back of the guy's bike. Sorry, guys. I never rode one, so what did I do? I went out and bought one. Then I took the lessons because I don't do things in the right order. But I wanted to ride to Sturgis from California, and I've done that twice because I wanted to. If you put your mind and your heart to doing something, you can do it. But if you don't do it, you're never going to have that total fulfillment. You know what I mean? It's like how people always make these lists of the things they want to do, but they don't do them. That's why everybody has to have a bucket list nowadays, you know. It's like, you better do it now or you're not gonna make it. And you have to have a plan. So, to be a successful actor or in business, you've gotta work it. To me, it's a daily thing. Every day I get up and I try to do something out of my comfort zone. Okay. I thought we had made it so it was going to give you everything at once, but it's not. So you want to ditch the glass slipper, right? Those things aren't very comfortable, and guys, I know you don't really want to wear one anyway. We have to unleash our potential. If you want to be a star, the only one that's going to make you one is you, right? Is anybody taking any classes to learn something new? Do your companies offer this for you, or do you have to do it on your own? Okay, I know that when I was first kind of coming up the ranks, and I've been on site, by the way. I was a lease-up manager, was my first job, and then I skipped right to corporate, and I became a regional after I graduated college. And I know that if you don't invest in yourself, even if your company is or isn't, you're not going to learn. I took tons of classes on communication because I'm actually somewhat shy, believe it or not. You know, okay, come on, you're supposed to laugh. Go, you're not shy. But I wanted to learn. So classes help me, and they can help you. Is there anything that somebody wants to share that they'd like to learn or overcome a fear? I'm going to pick on somebody if you don't put up your hand. I wanted to learn to write. Oh, good, yes, thank you.
I would like to learn Japanese.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's not a, They say that Japanese, oh, by the way, you'd like this? I went my last semester in school, I studied in Asia. So I was in Japan, Taiwan, China, all those countries. It was the best training that I got. The best part of my college education was learning what other people do. Japanese, they say, is like music. So it fits this theatrical thing and it has a rhythm. Have you started doing anything? Like, did you buy tapes or enroll in a class?
Not yet.
Okay, so can that go on your list of to-dos?
It could.
Okay, it needs to. You have to know what you want. If you don't know what you want, you're only going to get what comes to you, right? So decide on what you want to be. So everybody, what do you want to be in the next year or 5 years? Do you have a goal?
Rich.
Okay, I like that one. Well, you know what? Being rich it means a lot of times you have to use your brain. You have to work harder than others. You can't spend as much money while you're saving. So there's things you have to do. So you've got to know what you want, and I love this one. You have to never give up. Too many times we start to try something and it just doesn't feel natural or good, or we're hitting the wall and we quit. You've quit before the miracle is going to happen. You've got to persevere. You've got to push yourself. And one of the things that I think actors have to do, and it really helps in business, is keep your sense of humor. Do you guys laugh at yourselves? I mean, I have to laugh at me all the time. So I'm always doing something. And flaunt your plus points. Is anybody here really good or at something that you do at work? Like, is it somebody that can fix air conditioners? Because that's always a big one. Okay? So flaunting that, whether you're going to help others, troubleshoot, teaching your own team that helps us excel. People notice us, and we become more confident. The same thing, picking up people and helping mentor. That's okay that the phone's ringing. And oh yeah, your maintenance, there you go. But flaunting your good points helps us share with others and mentor others, as well as it starts to build some credibility, some street cred for us. We know how to do this, and we're going to continue to learn more. Being good at work is really about your belief in yourself, having confidence. So, if you want to be a celebrity, now this ties in, how many of you have social media for yourself? Okay, pretty good. How many of you have social media for your property? Okay, what we're going to talk about is a lot for your social media, but if you want to be an actor and have a star in Hollywood, you have to have a great headshot. I am always on social media for myself, looking for people to connect, looking for possible places for me to work. And one of the things that I find, how many of you have a headshot on your social media? Do you know that on LinkedIn, I don't always connect with people that don't have a picture of themselves, because I question their commitment to what they're doing. You don't see them. It tells me that maybe they don't know how to use social media. It makes me wonder, are they trustworthy? Why wouldn't they have their picture? Have you ever thought about that? So having a good headshot, whether you're going to be an actor or just be a good team member and leader, you've got to have a decent headshot. And if you tend to be one that likes to change them, don't have your Christmas headshot still up. This is August. You've got to make sure that you're changing those things, because that establishes your reputation and what people think at first look. Look at your bios. You heard a bio on me, a little long. I decided we're going to have to shorten that a little bit. You guys were probably snoozing. But it tells a lot about what I've done, where I've worked, and all. And the reason I'm a Cinderella story is because I was a regional manager. I got promoted. I moved from San Diego to San Francisco to be director of operations. I was replacing a vice president that went to work for another company, but they didn't give me the vice president title. They put me as a director. What happened is that I got recruited out. A headhunter called me and said that they had heard about me. Now, any guess as to why a company might hear about you? What?
Doing good.
You're doing good. What I did is, early in my career, I took on all the hard business, all of them. So if there was a property that had zero budget, but we were trying to reposition it, I would be sent in as the regional to find the right team that could make a difference at that property, figure out how we were gonna make this property more valuable. And I became an expert at turning around assets. So that was one. So that started, people knew me because I could make properties perform. Now I'm saying I, because it's really not me, it's we. What my talent really was learning how to work with people and select the right team members to be on the team, and then to build them, to help them be the best person they could be, to help them motivate their team. Does this sound like any of you? It should be. It developed a reputation for me up and down the coast of California. So I went for this interview thinking nobody would hire me as a president. I've never been a vice president, right? Don't you think that's kind of a big jump? At least I did. And I was female. At that time, there weren't as many of us out there. Well, I went for the interview, and you know how I did it? Just like an actor or actress would. I went as though I were auditioning. This was practice. I was going to be myself, which is important for you, because if you're not yourself at work, again, people aren't going to trust you. We can tell, when you're being somebody that you're not. Well, this company, I loved them and they loved me, and off I went to be president of E&S Ring in California. That just doesn't happen that often, and that's why I really do a Cinderella story. A company believed in me. I worked hard. I cared about people, and I wanted to make a difference, and they saw that. They had told me when I went to the interview to dress conservatively, and they told me what they wanted me to be, and I thought, I'm not doing that. I gotta be me. So I started to be known also to be a little bit rebellious. Do you notice that I'm in like metallic shoes? I wore metallic shoes to interviews, I know, because they match the buttons. But I think you should be yourself, your best self. So I was easy to remember. My social media presence, every week I work social media, whether it's inviting new people to connect with me, writing articles, publishing things. You need to do that for yourself if you want to grow, depending on where you want to go. But you also need to do it for your property, right? If you want your residents to stay and you want to attract more residents, your social media presence matters. Volunteer, mentor others, lifelong learner. I think those three things are some of the most important things you can do for yourself. How many of you mentor others? Anybody? Okay, a couple of you. We all should be mentoring. It really doesn't matter what your position is, but you probably know something. I'm going to try again. I heard a couple of you say that you mentor others. Put your arms back up. Okay. Ah! Oh, better. And notice I'm doing it left-handed. I'm right-handed, but I threw my shoulder already. I have a Rottweiler puppy that is amazing. And he likes to pull, and I did something with my shoulder, but hey. Mentoring others is, to me, one of the most heartfelt things you can do. It feels good. It helps them. Why we don't do it more often, I don't know. So what I'm going to encourage you, will you all do this for me? Okay, we're going to do like the pinky promise. Get your pinkies up. Okay, pinky promise. I want you, or you will, I'll give you till next Friday, not this Friday, but till next Friday. You're gonna share something with someone. So if you're in maintenance, maybe have one of your techs, or I don't know what your positions are. Shadow you if you're in the office. Show somebody something that they don't know. I call it need-to-need training. You know, show them like how the financials work. Show them something, but do something to show someone else. Will you do that? Pinky promise? It's the best way for you to have retention of your team, and it's amazing to your heart what it does, and you will be noticed. It makes a difference. A lot of people think, you know, I already do too much for this company. I don't want to do anything extra. Do it for you. And the performance never ends. Every day you're on stage. Okay. We're going to do something. Everybody stand up. I think most of you are somewhere where you can face someone. Instead of facing, if you could, because I can tell some of you are with each other, don't face the person next to you. Turn around and face somebody behind you. Try to face somebody, if it's possible. It's not going to be for everybody. Okay. Now we need to be, okay, here's what we're going to do. Okay, so turn and look at me real quick. Everybody do this. Make this shape with your hand. Put it to your forehead. What is this usually commonly known as? Loser. Okay. Well, you're not losers. You're all winners because you already did a pinky promise with me. One of the first things for your first impression, do you know it's only like 7 seconds? And like within 36 seconds, they've already decided who you are. So when you walk in a room, or when you greet a resident, or when you greet a supplier, or when you greet somebody from corporate, I want you to stand up, turn around everybody, and shake their hand and introduce yourself. Come on. Okay, I need a couple volunteers. So a couple people come up on the stage with me now. Come on, don't make me kick you. And stay standing because I'm in this way. I know you're not asleep. Yeah. Okay.
That's what we get for being in the front of you.
Yeah, no, but it's fun. This is great. Thank you so much. You're Ken. Carol. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. How many of you, and you don't have to embarrass each other, but I bet some of you got some pretty weird handshakes, right? Okay, so then we're going to do first. We're going to go for loser. We're looking, now watch, this is what we're doing. Do you see we're looking at, I already know he's going to be great, I can tell. We're looking at each other. I'm going to step in, you see how I'm stepping in? And I've got my right foot and my right arm. Normally this is where you wear your name badge, so he can see, because I'm a cheater. You know, that's why I was looking at you, but I couldn't see it, because it was the other way around. Because my memory might not be good, but I can cheat. So I'm going to put my hand out. Do you notice I'm in loser position? And I'm going to go in, and we're going to shake. But I'm looking at him. Now, you know what? I kind of like Ken, right? You see what I just did? I pulled you in. You didn't even hardly notice it. Because I wanted him closer to the back. Okay, now put your left shoulder back. Okay, and we're looking. This is if you don't really want to get close to them. Now I'm pulling them in. Try it. I know you're in weird spots, but just feel it. How do you feel about it? Kevin is now going to take what that felt like.
Okay, so her handshake,
It was strong, but it wasn't too strong. So it was firm and it exuded confidence. I was happy to actually shake her hand, which sounds weird, but from the handshake, she seemed like a very nice person.
I love Kenan already. I do. He looked at me straight in the eyes. He was confident. It's not easy getting up here on a stage, right? But he did everything right. His posture, he stands up perfectly straight. So when he walks in the room, he's already commanding his position. So when you're an actor, just translate this. When you're in multifamily, right? The way you stand, the way you move. The reason I wanted to pull him in is because depending on your conversation or the type of impression you're trying to make, you use different handshakes. Now let me just do that little fist bump thing. I am not a fist, I don't even know if I did it with the right hand. I'm not a fist bump person, but my husband, who was in the fire department, paramedic training, went through all of these communication things, and he tells me, so I'm gonna share this, because I do think it's applicable, it's just not me. Depending on who your audience is, I had to check them out, basically. I had to summon up and judge them on what I thought was going to work right with Kenan. The same approach doesn't work right with everybody. Am I making sense? Okay, next victim, get up here. Thank you. Give me a hand. I'm going to do some back. So we're going to do some no-nos with Carol.
No, because I never do a no-no.
I'm going to do a video. I'm going to do a no-no. Okay. What is it? Take that shit. Yeah. Okay, did you see the difference from what Kenan saw? Kenan, I'm never going to get that right, but I'll practice. Saw with me saying that I'm confident, and then I come in and I do this. Don't see the fingers are spread, they're kind of limp.
I don't know.
I know. But how does it feel? Tell the truth.
Like, you think you're Cinderella? And
Yeah, I think I got it.
I'm a subject.
Yeah. Do you see? Isn't that horrible? Is that the impression you want to make? Okay. So what you would do though, because it is a good one. If I'm putting my hand, I'm going to have you put your hand out like that. I'm going to still come in as much as I can. I'm probably not going to get totally in because you're really trying to connect here, but because you're a princess, I'm going to probably get you, I know you are, I'm going to probably get you closer to my thumb on your knuckles and my fingers on your finger.
And
I'm
then
still
you're
going
gonna
to,
break my knuckles.
and not, no, I'm not going to get it tight.
No, not you.
Okay, so one of, yeah, like that. But you see, I'm gonna change it up with her. Now, what I might also do with her is put my hand on top of her, because she already thinks she's royalty. She's a limp fish, and I can't stand limp fishes. But I need to make a connection. So I can put my hand on top of her hand. You see, it feels, I know, you're probably not liking this at all.
Not at all.
I know. Now let's do a good handshake.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's do what some of these guys do.
What's this mean? That's where I always end up.
Oh, you end
I
up
don't
figure it
know
out?
that. Yeah.
I would say we just work on that. Work on getting the figures together because you don't want somebody to
See, look.
I know, I've seen it and I'm doing it, but you see it's like kind of like she wants to do some little.
That's creepy.
Yeah, it's creepy. It is. I would probably be doing one of these with that handshake because I'm going to be trying to get away from that finger. Woo! You're a good sport. Okay, I want you to do your handshakes again. I want you to think about your intention, right? What type of relationship are you trying to create? Try to do it with somebody that you didn't already do, and I want you to have eye contact. And just in case anybody's wondering, the eyes are up here. They're no other place, they're not out there, they're not, you know. So please do your handshake one more time. Come on. Shake it up. Okay. You in the backwards hat. Nobody gets away without doing this. Everybody be quiet. Carol, we're
wanna break, put you on your knees.
Basically, what you're doing is you're showing that you probably need more testosterone, but you're trying to demonstrate that you got a lot of it. Don't break people's, I'm giving you a hard time. Don't break people's hands.
Got it.
You want it to feel nice, firm, not overly firm. When you squeeze either with your thumb, because that's a pressure point if you're locking your hand in right, and you overdo it, what it's basically showing is that you're dominant and nobody's gonna wanna work with you. Trust me. If you're doing it with your fingers, I've had them, like I feel like they're gonna break my knuckles. Same thing. You're losing respect from others.
Yeah.
I don't think you wanna do that. So,
I always think they're male chauvinist.
me too, well, whatever. I don't think good things. Girls do it too, women do it too. I've had women do it. I'm thinking, oh my God. It's not what you want. You can all sit down for a second. I already got my green ticket. I'm having water. Okay. Now, while we were doing this, I spotted a couple people, we won't name names, because I can't see your name tag, but if I could, I still wouldn't name you, that weren't paying attention. I think they were kind of turned off. I'm not gonna take it personally, because there's the rest of you that are excited about it. So how would I know that somebody isn't into this? They don't wanna learn. Bingo, body language. Your body language. So, now that you've got some ideas on your handshake, if I walk into a room like that, what are you gonna think? I don't care, I'm tired, I'm frumpy. My posture, how I move, how I use my hands, where my eyes are, all speaks volumes. I do not need to say a word. You don't need to say a word. But I'm watching you because I'm trying to connect with you. I want to try to give you something, just, one thing that you can walk away with. Or at least you can go away and say, she was really different. Anything. You guys are really quiet. But you can read the body language. So people, what do you think, I want a couple different answers out here. What body language do you despise? Anybody want to give me an example?
Shifty eyes.
Okay. Do an example. Stand up and show everybody what shifty eyes is.
I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. When you're trying to have a conversation with someone and they keep looking everywhere but at you.
That's a good one. I saw another hand. Kenan, was it you?
Yeah, I was gonna say aloofness, like you don't care, it's like slouching, weak handshakes, you're not really engaged. I do not like that at all, especially when I'm talking.
Any others?
I want to rebuttal.
What?
I want to rebuttal the eye thing.
Okay. No,
So
it's-
I have a lazy eye. It's
Oh.
really bad. And anyway,
Okay, Abby, you just want that.
I just want something because of my disability. But I'm always like, I look and then I kind of look away and I've been called out on it.
I have
And I'm like, I have a lazy eye.
Okay, so eye contact. Oh, good one. I don't know if I can get that to you. Oh, I'm getting better. I'm gonna be a pro. Okay, I love this. So body language, folded arms. It's the easiest way to say, don't get near me. I don't care. I've already made up my mind. And then depending on, did you see how my head went? Depending on what your head is doing, you're saying that. You're always better to have your arms unfolded. Now what about this? I don't do mean very well. I was trying, but people do the hip thing usually when they're mad, when they're trying to show their dominance, when they disagree, right? All those things. So that's not a good one either. So you've got to keep your body somewhat loose, but again, string pulling you straight up. Posture matters. Shoulders back. Okay, let's do this while you're in your chairs. Everybody square up in your chair, legs on the floor. Some of you are going to really hate me by the end of this, but this is good for you. Okay, okay, so pull it up, shoulders back. Okay, just that alone makes you all look so alert. You're so professional. It's like, wow. Okay, now leg position. I want you to cross them this way. You know what I'm saying? Like a guy does. Okay. Okay, a lot of you can't. Okay, I know the hips don't go there. That with your arms folded is again a go away. But you could do this if you're, leaning in. Whenever you lean in, you're showing interest. But your body language matters. What about this type of thing?
As I was just doing.
Yeah, I just feel really bad for women that we can do that, but nowadays guys can too. What about this? This is pencil pretend. The person that's tapping away. Yeah, or the same thing with the foot on the ground or the leg kicking. I had to learn, let me see if I can do this. No, I may not be able to get back up, but I had to learn because, again, I'm a little hyper, and to sit still and pay attention for me, it's tough. My brain's, I've already moved on and you're still talking. So I had to learn by actually sitting on my hands, kind of tucking them, and my legs more this way, because a lot of people will do this. That looks like I'm bored, and I'm not paying attention. So I had to learn, lean in. What I also do, Abby, you're not gonna be able to film this, I'm coming in.
You're coming in.
I am. When you're dealing with somebody angry, oops, sorry, sweetie. I get right next to them. No barrier. Many of you as managers or leaders, you tend to want to sit behind your desk. You're way more impactful if you come out from behind the desk and sit knee to knee. You want to get in their space, because when you're in their space, you're going to sell. You're going to be chosen for that role.
Especially during an interview.
Yeah, or stabbed. Okay, that's not a good thing. But I know, if you're, okay, now let me go this way. So let's say you're in a dangerous situation, a potentially dangerous situation, because that's life nowadays. So in that scenario, first of all, if I wouldn't bring them in your office, I would try to keep them in the clubhouse or somewhere a little bit more public. I know you may be worried, well, look, what if they make a scene? Probably a scene is better than a stab wound or something. I mean, I'm hoping it's not that intense. But sometimes but you never, ever, ever discipline someone in front of other people. That's the tough part. Because if you do that, what you've just said, let's pretend it's a team member. What you've just said is that I don't care about you. You don't matter. I'm going to embarrass you in front of your peers. It is so bad. Don't do that. But with somebody that you're feeling is going to be angry, then I do stay behind the desk. I usually, if I know I'm going into one of those meetings, if you have advance warning, I tell other employees to just stick around and be aware. I do not shut my door, right? Because it takes too long if you have to open it. So I create different space if I'm in an awkward. I could give you a couple other hints. We're going to move on. Where did I think of? When you're dealing with difficult people, angry people, one of the best things you can do is be quiet. Your silence, let them vent. I see a lot of you have pads, have a notebook, be taking notes. What that forces you to do is to listen and to write things down, so now you've got a record of whatever the scenario is. And let them know, I'm going to take notes because it's really important to me. Wink, wink. And I'll use that information later. A lot of times, I know for a fact with residents, at least in my years of multifamily, they mostly want to vent. half the time if I let them get to the end and I ask them, what, is there something I can do for you? I mean, besides asking for free rent, of course, they usually don't know what they wanted, they just wanted somebody to listen and for you to resolve whatever they thought the problem was. So let's just pretend that your maintenance team isn't as good as the maintenance team members in this room. A lot of times, an unhappy resident, they're gonna bring up 20 work orders that aren't even in your, in your system. They're making it up. Don't interrupt them, just take notes. Don't argue with them. It's not worth it. You're not gonna win. Just listen. And then you're planning. Figure out what is your next step. How am I gonna close this out? So making the cut. We talked about body language, right? You're gonna read their body language. You're gonna try to determine what handshake is appropriate or just use the one you usually use, which is just a nice business-like handshake. You're gonna make sure you know what they want. So if you're auditioning for something and they want you to be crying, you better cry. But most of the time in your work scenario, you're solving problems, you're connecting, you're creating rapport, you're asking for the money. You need to know what is it that they want so that you can deliver it. We know what we want, but what do they want? Always, always, and I get this lecture all the time from my husband, listen more than you speak. Like I said, not always easy for me. That's why I always use the note-taking, because then I'm actually listening, because if not, I'm not listening. I might be pretending like I'm listening, but I'm not. So taking notes, helps. And you always have to be confident. I tend to, before I got up here on stage, I calm myself down over there. I close my eyes, I take some deep breaths, I ask for the words to come to me, and that I make a difference today, somehow, for each of you. And I have to remember that it's not about me. It's not always about you. It's what difference can we make for those around us. Put your people first. The cattle call. Focus and deliberate. You've got to know, what is it you want? Again, we've talked about this, right? You're hearing some of the same things over and over. What is it that you want to do, and are you focused? The emotional preparation. Has anybody in here ever had to terminate an employee, reprimand them in some way, tell them they didn't get a promotion? One of those things that aren't always so fun. You have to be emotionally prepared. I always suggest, before you go into a conversation that's somewhat difficult, is, take a walk, go outside. I'm big on this. Not that you guys want to do this, but I get myself ready. I'm going to give back. I'm open. I want to be open. But you have to have yourself emotionally prepared. Do your research. It's nothing like a little homework. I'm looking to see if there's anything that you have to see besides reading this. Hey, if any of you want this, if you either give me a business card, I'll make sure that this gets sent to you, too, if you want to have a workbook on it. The whole thing, you hear what I've been saying, if you want to have your star in Hollywood, you have to stand out from the crowd. You cannot be doing the same old thing that everybody else is doing. You've got to put a little bit more heart in it, a little bit more learning into it. You've got to care more. You have to learn more. Anybody have a blooper? Okay, want to hear another weird tidbit? You probably don't, but you're going to get it. About me. Not only do I have 3 dogs, I have lizards. I have an albino iguana, I have a lychee, a day gecko, I've got a few of them, and they're in my office. They share my office with me. So, lizards have the ability to adapt and to change, right? A lot of them, they change colors, they fit into their habitat. We have to do that too as leaders and individuals. We can't always deliver, the same thing because everybody is motivated differently. Same thing if you're auditioning for a TV show. You have to have the right act to present to your audience. It's the same thing. So with bloopers, I make mistakes. I've made a ton of them. I've learned to laugh at myself. My husband still gets frustrated because I run into things, tip things, break things. That clumsiness of the child didn't ever go away. So I laugh at myself. I just think it's funny. It's like, that's just, part of it is just, I can't help it. Showing your human side. What are we? Right? We're humans. Humans are fallible. Humans have feelings. So showing your human side, and what I mean by that is be real. Be real. Show your dedication. I think dedication to your trade shows by what you put into what you do and your attitude. You know, every day, are you looking at it like, wow, this is gonna be fun, I'm on this great adventure, something new is gonna break and I get to fix it. There's gonna be a new encounter that I haven't had yet. You have to get excited about that. You can't hope. If you're in property management and you've got your day scheduled by every hour, you probably need to get out of the business because it's never gonna go that way, right? It never goes the way you plan it. Be a source of inspiration. You may be the only positive encounter somebody has that day. You may be, I worked in military, I've worked in student, and I've worked in low income. All of those tend to have suicide at the properties. It's horrible. But you might be able to make a difference in somebody's life, truly in their life, just by having eye contact, saying hello, how are you today? Smiling. But how often are you in too much of a hurry and you're just cruising through because you're trying to get to the next thing you have to do and you forgot about everyone else? Work from your heart, not your head and all of your deadlines. Bloopers increase connection. Sharing your mistakes with others makes it okay for them to make mistakes. They're going to take risks better if they know that you aren't going to reprimand them and you make mistakes too, right? We're all human. And it builds trust. Do any of you share your bloopers with your team and then what the lesson was? I had a feeling you would. You
All the time.
Yeah, and they probably love it, and I bet they will tell you when they make a mistake, don't they?
Everybody makes mistakes, and so I'm on the maintenance side of thing, and I tell everybody, part of what sets, a good maintenance guy from a great maintenance guy is how do you fix your mistakes? Because we're all gonna make them.
You're right on with that. People make mistakes, it's what we do with it. I mean, make these bloopers positive. If you allow and share your mistakes and the lessons you've learned with others, they're going to be more comfortable, again, to take those risks, to learn things, and to share with you. Like, you don't want them going in and, totally blowing it. I mean, maybe they used the wrong word that they shouldn't use in the business. Maybe they messed up an air conditioner. You don't want them hiding that, and they will if they're not comfortable with you. It's hard to admit when you make mistakes, but it can be fun too. Okay, guys, we're on the rundown, almost drink time. I think we have a lot of these things to throw out. Who wants a drink? What? Uh-oh. Okay, we'll try. I think that I'm going to do this like a frisbee. Let's see. Back there.
Good try, Carl. She's coming for it. Okay.
And you guys can keep throwing them to each other if you don't want to. Just pass it on. Thank you, Dry Patrol, right? Okay, what is going on? is your stage. You guys tell me. Do any of you dream? I know that we've got one that wants to be rich back there. Everything starts with a dream. Remember, I don't know about you, but they used to say, don't daydream, don't dream, you know, you're wasting time. I say, dream. Go for it. What do you want to do? What do you want to have? Who do you want to be? What do you want people to remember you as or for? Dream, and dream big. And every day, try to do something that's going to get you towards just one step closer to your dream. You deserve it. Learning Japanese. If you don't invest in yourself, who's going to? One of the things that I started to do, that again isn't in my nature, I told you I got a new puppy. Did I tell you it's a Rottweiler?
Yes.
Okay, did I tell you he weighs more than I do?
Yeah, he's a big boy.
And he's just over a year. Oh my God, I love Gunner. We named him after my dad for Gunner Pete. His name is Gunner. And I don't really like getting dirty. You know, I'm not that girl, but with Gunner, he needs exercise, he needs stimulation. So I live on 80 acres. I live in the middle of nowhere in Tennessee. And I hike with Gunner, something I never thought I would do. You know, and it is so much fun because watching Gunner, I want to be like him. Everything he sees is exciting. Everything he does, I mean, he's so curious. So I'm trying to be like my dog. I know some of you are like, okay, she is really. But his innocence, his desire, his confidence, and the other thing that he does, he always comes back to me. He's watching over me. It's the cutest thing ever. But it's just amazing to me. So I've added hiking with Gunner. I try to do 1.5 to 3 miles with him. I also figure it's probably good for me to have some exercise because it's not something, I like to do. But you've got to change it up. Okay. How many of you heard the saying, it's an inside job? Anybody, you don't have to raise your hand. You can just think about it. Do any of you tend to go easily to frustration, anger, disappointment, thinking that I'm not good enough, I'm getting passed over? It's easy to go there, especially with some of the things that go on in the world nowadays. But it's an inside job. Your heart, your head impacts you and everybody around you. So believing that you can excel, that you can put people first, that you can be kind, that you can make a difference, and telling yourself these things. Does anybody do affirmations? I'm a huge affirmation person. I've been doing most of these for 30 years. I do affirmations, and I do them when I'm out with Gunner. It's one of the things that's really made me get into the hikes and the walks. And trust me, we're going through icky stuff. I mean, there's like water and mud and, spider webs. It's, for me, this is icky, but, and I do it because I'm doing the affirmations. I'm watching him be so excited, and I'm getting out of me and opening up. So it is inside, how we look at things, how we do things. So you all have the power and the control to make changes in how you see things and what you do. Getting out of your comfort zone. One of the things that I did, again, a Gunner story, is my husband, because I live in Tennessee, so if you don't approve of this, I'm sorry, but they do hunting out there, hunting and fishing. It's big, big sport area. So on our property, they built one of those things way up in the air where you can, yeah, but a big one. It's like if you ever go and look at me on LinkedIn or Facebook, there's one of Gunner and I climbing the ladder and showing it like it's an apartment. Because guess what? And this tree is huge, this thing is huge. I have a fear of heights. I broke my elbow once before. I don't like going up. And then I'm holding my phone and filming me. and Gunner as we're doing it. That's out of my comfort zone. If I like pushing me, if it's something that I'm afraid of, that I think I can't do, I immediately start to put in action a plan to do it. I don't want to be held back because my head is telling me negative things. I'm gonna get into my heart and I'm gonna step into it and get into action. You all can do that. So pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Is anybody in here not like wouldn't want to be up here talking to everybody? Okay, a couple of you. So most of you are gonna get that Hollywood star. Then you need to do it. You have to practice speaking in front of people. Pushing yourself through, leaning in to your fears just creates so much beauty in your life. And willingness. One of my affirmations is that I am willing. Because I need to remain willing. If I'm willing, then I can get through and do just about anything. But without willingness, there's no desire. There's no starting to take Japanese. I have to be willing to push through. So if you need affirmations, I am willing, I am confident. Let me think of mine. Okay, some of mine are personal. I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm worthy, I'm capable, I'm independent, I'm confident, I'm assertive. Those are some of my affirmations. I've been saying them 30 years. So 30 years ago, I didn't believe in those. And there's some other ones that are more about, my health, my image, all of that. You have to have willingness to change. And we're summing this up. There's only a couple more of these, guys. I know you want to drink. Have you already been thinking about what you're going to drink? It's all about giving back. The greatest gift you can give someone is to mentor them, to really listen to them, to be available. And this goes, for your residents, for your family, spouses, significant others, kids, dogs, right? Residents, employees, team members. The best gift you can give someone is your attention. I love, and also if any of you ever want to know about some great resident retention activities, I have a whole list on giving back and bringing the community and your residents together. So if you really want to push this giving back thing, we can talk. And then lastly, it's your passion and being grateful. I use gratitude lists, especially if I'm feeling stuck or my willingness is wavering. I make the list of what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to have Gunner. That's just two little things. And you have to celebrate every day. Does anybody in here have a win for the day? Did something you did today, do you think made a difference? Would you share?
Anybody else, mister?
They're shy this way.
Right into that one. It's small win. It was a tour that came in today, and when she came in, she's a senior, we're a senior community. And she had her head down like this, talk about body language. And she was telling me, you're gonna have to sell me on this place because I'm not happy to be here. Because sometimes our seniors aren't ready to move, and she was trying to relay to me, and she just had her head down like this the whole time, and it turned around where she was smiling and all excited and happy.
And guess what made that difference?
I was challenged, and I enjoyed
Yes.
being
You-
personable with her.
You leaned in and you thought about her more than closing the lease or anything else, it sounds like. You read her body language. You need to present this topic next time. You got it. Which do you want? Okay. Yeah, I figured out that. And guys, these gifts, Sky Patrol, these are all from Sky Patrol. So, number one, to be a star performer, you're going to help others without asking for anything in return. That's tough for a lot of people. Always ask, one of my favorite things to say is, is there anything I can do for you? Can I be of assistance? Can I help you? Make that part of your vocabulary. It's a wonderful thing. It'll make a difference in your performance, your property's performance, your career, your life. I encourage people to meditate. I told you I did my own little version. I just took a breath, cleared my head so that I could be ready to come up here and so that I wasn't focused on me. So I'd be focused on you. Now you can meditate and do your affirmations. I mean, there's a lot of different ways, but we have to kind of, clear that gunk out sometimes. So find what works for you. Embrace and love failure. Failure drives me because if I can't figure it, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm tenacious. I am like the dog with a bone, and I like solving problems. Convince yourself you're like that. These are good characteristics, good attributes. If you don't have them, you can, just by taking action. Telling yourself. Your brain hears what you say, and it knows what you're thinking, obviously. Think the right thoughts. You got a great thing. What about taking care of yourself? What do you guys do to take care of yourself? Self-care, wellness, mental health? Anybody want to share? Okay. Uh-huh.
Walk every morning, so I have to start my day out in front of the temperature is.
And you know what you can do too? She walks every morning just to get ready. When you're having those bad moments, minutes, hours, go take that walk. Take a break.
Be around nature.
Be around nature. Take deep breaths. We all need to do things for us. Like I told you, I started walking Gunner in the forest. Oh, and by the way, he has pushed me into the swamp part of the forest. I wear hunting boots in the winter. They're up to my knees. He pushed me in to where it was in the boots. I was completely in, and I couldn't get up because I was sinking. But instead, I filmed it, made it fun, because what are you gonna do? Be angry, which, is like, it's making, making lemonade out of lemons. But you've got to take care of yourself. So it's mind, body, spirit, the food you put in, the breaks you take. Do you get enough sleep? Yeah, you were hitting on a few, right? I'm sure. Do you get away from the TV, the social media, things like that? Those things are not necessarily healthy for us. You've got to figure out what works for you. I drink a lot of water. You see me with a water bottle? Huge water, because that's healthy. Do I like water? Not really. I taught myself. I've also taught myself not to like chocolate or diet sodas, because I condition. Like I said, I can change because I make myself change for positive outcomes. Are you making your decisions with your heart, or are you making them with your head? How many would say heart? Both? Okay, I think both works. Sometimes when we're too heady though, we don't think holistically, about what's going on. And allow yourself to do what you love. Does anybody have something that they love doing? Doesn't have to work. Fishing? Did I hear some fishing? Or what were you guys saying in the back row?
Softball.
Okay, softball. You wouldn't want me on your team. Anything else? Yes?
Weird yard art.
Oh,
Yard art.
okay. That's a different one. But you gotta do what you love. I'm getting ready to take lessons with Gunner. We're gonna go to training because, here's me, Maria does dream big. I'm gonna show Gunner. He was meant to be a breeder, but we got him instead of him going into, a cage to be a breeder, but they wanted to breed him. So he is such, and I know y'all say this about your kids and your own dog, but he is such an amazing creature, a loving, amazing dog that I want to show him. So we're going to take lessons, and You might be seeing Gunnar and I trotting around, the stage doing the thing. He's gonna learn to be a show dog. He's gonna learn obstacle course, and he's gonna learn protection. And all, I know, kind of excited about it. And I think I'm gonna love it. I'm excited about it. Get out of your comfort zone. I wanna thank the sponsors. I know that the only one I think in the room is Drive Patrol. Thank you guys. Is there anybody else in here from? These are your A-list sponsors. These sponsors basically supported this event for you all. And when you go out there, I know a lot of times you don't want to go to all the booths, but at least go by and say thank you. Thank you for supporting our apartment association. It's again, it goes along with being artful, mindful. You don't have to buy anything. You don't even have to get a sales pitch, but thank them for being here. And maybe send a note to your company or whoever allowed you to leave your properties today to come here. It's a big deal. Oh my God, we're done. 10 minutes early. I have one more spread. I'd love to know, does anyone want to share a takeaway from today? Something that, yes?
We wanna know if your husband was